He moved in to escape his past. But the house had already recorded his future.
Don't miss the next twist. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell for more interesting stories like this.
My name is Andrew. I'm 35, single, and recently moved to a small town in upstate New York to start over. After a messy breakup and leaving my job at a corporate law firm, I wanted something quiet. Something simple. So when I found a listing for an old two-story colonial on the edge of town, below market price, needs minor work, I jumped on it. The house had charm, hardwood floors, tall windows, ivy creeping along the brick chimney. It looked like the kind of place people retire into and finally write that novel. But the moment I moved in, things started feeling off. Not in a horror movie way. No blood on the walls or creepy dolls. Just weird. The first odd thing I noticed was the smell. Faint, metallic. Not constant, it came and went, strongest at night. I chalked it up to old pipes. The second was the sound. A low hum. Not mechanical, not electrical. It felt more like a vibration than a noise. I only heard it when the house was silent, around 3 a.m., when I'd wake up thirsty and walk down to the kitchen. Then came the third thing, the floor plan. I was organizing papers in the office one afternoon when I opened the original blueprint the seller had left behind. It was neatly rolled in a tube, yellowed at the edges. First floor, second floor, attic, all there. But no basement. Which would have been fine, except I had found a basement door on day one. In the hallway near the kitchen. Metal. Heavy. With an old turn handle instead of a knob. I tried to open it when I moved in. It was locked. I figured it was just a cellar. Probably storage. I had planned to ask the realtor about it but forgot. Now I was staring at blueprints that said it didn't exist. I tried again. The door was still locked. Solid. Like a bank vault. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the hum in my head. That low frequency. I couldn't tell if it was a sound or a pressure. The next morning, I went to the hardware store and bought a crowbar. It took over an hour, but I got the door open. The hinges screamed when it finally gave. Behind it was a staircase. Narrow. Concrete. No light. I stood there for 10 minutes, flashlight in hand, heart racing. Then I went down. It wasn't a basement. Not really. It was more like a corridor. 10 feet wide, stone walls, stretching straight into darkness. The hum got louder. I walked maybe 20 steps before I saw it, a room on the left. Metal walls. Like a shipping container fused into the ground. Inside were shelves. Dozens of shelves. And on those shelves were tapes. Cassette tapes. Each labeled with a date. Each date exactly 3 days apart. Going back years. Dozens. Hundreds. I picked one at random. March 14, 1992. I didn't have a player. But I took it upstairs, cleaned it off, and posted online asking if anyone in town could convert cassette to digital. A guy named Pete replied within an hour. Said he ran a small AV repair shop 2 blocks from the diner. I brought the tape in the next morning. He plugged in the player, popped the tape in, and hit play. At first, silence. Then static. Then. My name is Andrew. I'm 35 years old. I just moved to this house. Something is wrong here. If you're hearing this, don't open the door. I froze. Pete hit pause. That's you, right? I nodded. But that can't be. This tape's from 1992. He showed me the timestamp embedded in the magnetic strip. The tape was old. Legit. I left in a daze. Back home, I opened the blueprint again. The page had changed. There was now a faint pencil sketch of a basement. A hallway. A room. My hands were shaking. I ran back down the stairs. Back through the corridor. I counted tapes again. The last one was dated, 3 days from now. It had no label. It was already in the recorder. I hit play. And I heard myself breathing. I heard footsteps. I heard a whisper I didn't recognize, "We're almost ready." And then, nothing. Just the hum. I don't know what's happening. But I started recording this story, because I think I'm part of the house now. And maybe I always was. I stopped sleeping. Not entirely, but never through the night. Every time I drifted off, I heard whispers behind the walls. My name. Always my name. Pete offered to let me crash at his place for a night. I said no. I didn't want to leave the house alone. I was starting to believe it needed me, or I needed it. On the 5th day, I found a new tape. It wasn't on the shelf. It was on my pillow. No label. Just black plastic. I brought it downstairs. Hands shaking. Pressed play. This time, it was someone else's voice. Female. Quiet. If he hears this, it means he's crossed the threshold. Do not let him record again. It strengthens the loop. I rewound it. Played it again. Same message. Over and over. I called Pete. No answer. Drove to his shop. Dark. Locked. Then I checked my phone. No signal. Wi-Fi disconnected. I opened my front door to go outside, and saw a wall. A stone wall. Where the street should have been. Where my driveway had been. Just gray, endless stone stretching in both directions. I ran to the back. Same. Every exit was blocked. I wasn't in my town anymore. The house had taken me. It's been 3 days since that. Or longer. There's no clock now. No day or night. Just humming. I found a mirror. Not mine. Oval-shaped, hanging where my bookshelf used to be. When I look in it, I'm not there. But I see someone else. Sitting. Writing. Sometimes, I think it's you. Reading this. Writing it down. You might think this is a story. But maybe it's a recording. And maybe you're next. I tried to leave again. I packed what I could, flashlight, food, the tapes I had left. But the hallways didn't take me to the front door anymore. They curved. Shifted. Led me in loops until I gave up. One room I opened was full of water. Still, black water, like an underground lake. Floating on it were pages, pieces of the journal. But they were scorched. In another room, I saw my brother. He was sitting at a desk, headphones on. Transcribing something. I called his name. He didn't look up. I reached for him, and my hand passed through. He blinked once. Wrote down another line. It was something I hadn't said yet. I turned and ran. Somewhere, deep in the house, I found a staircase that went down. Endless. Crumbling. I counted 200 steps before I lost track. At the bottom was a chamber. Stone walls, but smoother than before. In the center, a pedestal. On it, a reel-to-reel recorder. Already playing. My voice again. I thought I could escape. That I could rewrite the ending. But the house remembers. And so will you. I tried to smash the machine. But as I touched it, the room changed. The walls began to pulse. Breathe. And then I saw them. Others. People like me. Trapped. Writing. Recording. Their faces blurred, but their voice is clear. All saying the same thing. The house is waiting. I screamed. And woke up. Back in my bed. Light through the windows. Phone on the nightstand. Normal. Except, the tape was in my hand. Labeled, Final Draft. And underneath, in my handwriting, Do not play. But I already had. Because now, you're reading it too. And it's not a story. It's a warning. So if you ever find a house that hums, that smells of metal, that doesn't match the plan, leave. Before it remembers you. Because once it does, you belong to it. Like I do. Forever.